I was fascinated by some of the history of the internet that people were talking about, because I do remember in the mid 1990s, one of the things I was doing was a part-time non-exec director of Swiss Re, and we were looking at how you sold life insurance on the internet. And in the city here, there was a club, and there was a club with people like Sky and Marks and Spencer's and a bunch of other household names, and we were huddling together for warmth. The only person who'd done anything was Jeff Bezos, and he was basically distributing DVDs and books and precious little else. And I can remember we all kind of, it was like an article of faith. We were gathered together in that room on a regular basis, and the amount of business being done, commercial business on the internet, was like this. And we were saying, you know, we think this is going to grow. We think this is going to develop, but it was like this. And it was a real act of faith. And now you look at it and the high streets are dying and everything's gone online. It's just been an absolute massive change. And what those of us working in the industry don't always appreciate is that something happens like that. And if you do, it's that people were mentioning the ARPA network. And it does, the internet goes back to the 1960s. And it's often the case that you have pieces of technology that simmer away in the background, and then they suddenly take off. So, this works. Does it work?
Hang on. Technical here.
Well, this might be a session. Right, got my, so if I press my slide thing right? No? Oh.
There you go.
That's it. So, well, you see rather provocatively what I've titled this. If you look at technology, what I was just saying there, if you look at
Full screen.
full screen, no? Well, what I was saying, and what will come up on the next slide, I expect, is that
There you go.
that's it. Oh, I've gone one too far now. If you look at technologies, they sit in the background, and I was specifically referencing the internet technology, been there for years. And most of my career, AI's been there. Whatever form it took or people thought it might take, it's been there. And now suddenly it's come of age. Suddenly, you know, I've been talking on the subject for about 8 to 10 years now. I've got very little traction, really, certainly amongst politicians of that. And now suddenly governments and the media has grabbed hold of it, and things have changed. And there is this thing of kind of riding the wave. You know, the technology is innovation. It's all around us. It's happening very quickly, and it's leading to an arms race. Those companies in California, it is now leading to an arms race between them and governments. And some of the governments are the good guys, and some of the governments are not so good guys. And where we are now is a sort of, you know, we're going through this transformational change. You look at it in the world, and it's happening now. It's happening around. So that's why, you know, it is that I talked about the coming tsunami. You know, something that begins as ripples has now become major waves, and it's engulfing us all. And you look at what's happening with chatbots and all the rest of it. You can see the way in which the whole nature of what is happening is changing. It has suddenly got this traction. It's happening very quickly. We've got quantum computing coming. The Turing test has effectively been passed. All those things are happening, and they're happening in a rush. And of course, there is loads of good news. You've only got to look at you know, things like health. You look at the way that offices work and the use of algorithms now in offices. You look at manufacturing, masses of things going on. And then one of the ways I spent quite a bit, because when I started in government, I was in the Department of Health. I worked for 2 pharmaceutical companies along the way, running their technology, and the implications for the health service, or for health services doesn't matter, but for health are incredible. When you look at what you can do by analysing patient metadata, when you can look at what you can do in terms of diagnosis and all that sort of thing. So some major changes coming down the track. When we come to AI though, there are kind of flavours of AI. Now there's the classical AI, or what one of my sons calls it, good old-fashioned AI. That's what GOFA stands for, good old-fashioned AI. And this was typified in the kind of 70s and 80s, when the idea was you replicated the way the human brain worked, and you tried to develop systems that would do that and also help you understand how the human brain worked. And it kind of ran into something of a cul-de-sac. In about 1990 or so, it ran into a cul-de-sac. And then we went on to connectionist AI, which is all about neural networks and filters and all the rest of it. And you'll see what the other panel members say in a minute. But I mean, my own view is you can actually argue whether it's intelligent. It's certainly artificial. It is absorbing this massive information. We now record more every 2 hours than we did in the whole history of mankind until 2000. So vast amounts of information are being recorded and therefore able to be accessed by AI systems. So they're gobbling up this information and they're putting it back to us. Now, whether that's actually intelligence or not, I leave you to decide. But let me just briefly talk about, if you take Homo sapiens, what's the record? Well, a slow starter, but actually over time, some amazing developments in community, getting together as communities, artistic creation, all the rest of it. But massive levels of violence, not just historically, but continuing. And you know, really the record is not a particularly good one. We currently face a world situation which is not of the best. Is artificial intelligence the future? John von Neumann was the first person who postulated singularity back in the 1950s, as long ago as that. And now I think we are getting to that point where maybe some of those Hollywood movies were more accurate than we thought. And you have to argue or think about whether that singularity, why wouldn't it happen? And when it does happen, will it be a great breakthrough for mankind or personkind? Will it be a great breakthrough? Will it mean that we achieve all the things that we thought we might not achieve? Or will it just embed all the bad things about society? If what AI is now doing is absorbing all this human experience, then does it blow it back in terms of what we do to each other? So not necessarily good news. So on that note, I'm going to shut up and ask the first of our panelists, Vasilis Galanis, can you come forward and give your presentation? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction, John. I wonder if I can make this work.
No, yeah, you're more successful than I was.
Yay! So an honor to be here, especially at this panel. If you haven't read Chris's paper,